Oscar Duarte versus Batyr Akhmedov, 10 rounds in the 140-pound division. Let's get into it. Let's start with their respective records. Duarte, 27 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 22 wins by way of knockout. Akhmedov, 10 wins, 3 losses, 9 wins by way of knockout. This is a 50-50 fight to me. I think it's going to be a good one. Duarte was supposed to fight Kenneth Bossman Sims, but he had an injury, so he had to pull out. So Akhmedov is stepping in on short notice. That could be a great thing for Duarte, or it could cause a lot of trouble for him because we know how good and tough Akhmedov is. Now, Duarte has 2 losses in his career. One happened a little early, but the second one coming when he fought Ryan Garcia last year. But since that fight, he's back to his winning ways, especially after his most recent fight, coming off of a win, stopping Jojo Diaz, someone who has not been stopped before in their career. So you know that makes a fighter feel good. So you know he's coming into this fight very confident and believes that he can stop Akhmedov, someone who has not been stopped before either. So psychologically and confidence-wise, like he's in good spirits. At least you would have to believe it. Akhmedov has been in some close fights himself. He's lost to Mario Barrios in a close fight, a fight that Barrios separated from him and really edged the win when he got that knockdown. He lost to Alberto Puello in a controversial fight, a fight that many thought Akhmedov won, but it was a very close fight. There was a bunch of swing rounds in that fight and could have went either way. But one of those scorecards, if I remember correctly, was like 117, 111, which was a little bit wild to me. That was a little bit wide, but it's just boxing, and in a close fight, you are bound to have at least one of those scorecards be all over the place. But that was a fight that Akhmedov lost. His most recent loss came from when he fought Kenneth Bossman Sims, who Duarte was supposed to fight. And that was another close fight, a fight that had a lot of swing rounds and a fight that could have went either way as well, too. So Akhmedov is battle tested, but in a close fight, he's kind of got the short end of the stick, and it has not went in his favor. So he's had 13 fights, but he's a seasoned veteran, a lot of amateur professional fights. So he knows he's been in the fire early. So there's not really going to be anything new for him being on a big stage like this. Ishmael Barroso is probably the biggest win of his career that, is a notable name that people know. Now, Duarte, you've been watching him long enough. He's a come forward type of fighter, bringing that pressure, right? Trying to get in close, trying to get in range, trying to let off combinations. When he fought Jojo Diaz, it's like he was waiting for Diaz to tire out and waiting for Diaz to come in and to miss a shot. That was probably the most that I've seen Duarte at least attempt to counter, and countered that effectively. Usually I'm used to seeing him in close range, working the body, working the head, throwing in combinations and overwhelming his opponents with his strength and his size. You can look at Oscar Duarte and see this is a big guy for 135, 140 pounds. Like he's built to overwhelm you. He's built strong and durable. And if he doesn't respect your power, man, he's just going to smother you all round, all night. Jojo Diaz's power sometimes tends to fade the longer the fight goes on, especially when he goes up to the bigger weight divisions. And when he fought Duarte was not respecting that power. Diaz was throwing shots out there, but there was no steam behind him, and it was not enough to keep Duarte off of him. And Diaz just became a sitting duck, became a punching bag, man. And Duarte was just teeing off of him, and it was getting ugly, right? It was getting ugly, which why they threw in the towel, and that fight was stopped in the 9th round. Diaz was taking a lot of punishment, man, and he's been through a lot in his career and did not need to take any more punishment. But it was a big win for Oscar Duarte. Now, Akhmedov is also a guy that likes to let his hands go. He isn't afraid to take risks. And in most cases, it's worked for him. But there's been times when it doesn't work for him, right? He's been dropped a couple times in his career. He beat Ishmael Barroso, but he had to fight through adversity because Barroso dropped him in the 3rd round of their fight. But he got back up and dropped Barroso and then got the win, right? So getting knocked down isn't new to him, but the risk taking that he does, it leaves himself open to being hit and hitting the canvas. Mario Barrios dropped him twice to seal their win, right? So he's not one to play with, but you can catch him coming in. If you can catch him coming in at the right time, I'm not saying his chin is glass by no means, because he has not been knocked out. But I'm just saying Akhmedov, he can be put on the canvas. But Akhmedov is a fighter through and through, man. After his loss to Mario Barrios, he came back. And I remember watching that fight, and he stopped Ray Perez in the first round with a body shot. You know, this is a guy that likes to be in that fire. He likes to be in that danger. So you know he's going to try to close the gap. He likes to fight on the inside, right? I thought when he fought Alberto Pollo did a good job of creating space and using his reach to his advantage, looping shots in from a safe space from different angles, whether it was over the head, it was around the body, hitting the rib cage, whatever it was. Pollo did a good job of not being too close and made himself a little bit harder to get hit. And I felt like it worked in his favor. And he used his footwork to stay off of the ropes and do his best to stay in the center of the ring. Akhmedov, to me, you know, I thought he could have done a better job early going to the body in order to slow up Pollo a little bit. But he did it late in the fight and in those mid rounds, but he kind of went away from it because he was headhunting so much, trying to get the stoppage, that sometimes he would smother his work a little bit and wasn't able to fully take advantage of his combinations, you know, but he was pressuring well and throwing combinations well, regardless if it hit or not. He made sure Pollo was there thinking about what was going to come back at him, but Pollo did a great job of continuing to counter him, and he did it very well consistently throughout that fight. I think Pollo has better footwork than Oscar Duarte, to me personally, but, you know, Akhmedov is also one of those guys that just keeps coming and coming and coming in. This is why this fight is going to be interesting, because stylistically, it's either going to be very exciting or possibly, you know, a little boring. I'm not going to think it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be very exciting. I think it's going to be one of those all-out war type of fights, and a fight that, you know, we shouldn't blink, because I think it's going to start off hot. So who wins? Before I give my pick on this fight, I have something real quick to share. You know, I'm always looking to bring more light, more value, more opportunities for the community. I've been working on a few different things in recent weeks to not just grow the channel, but as I said, to continue to provide as much value as I can to each of you in our community. With that being said, I got some exciting news to share. I'm happy to announce my partnership with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert. It's a great opportunity for you to join some of the best sports books to get the best odds and new user offer. All you have to do is head over to my dedicated page at signupexpert.com/thebreakdown to explore a selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with its own unique offerings. So if you want to place a bet this weekend and on this fight and beyond, check out the link to find the best options for you in your region. Every sign up does support the channel, and it helps the channel grow and to expand and to create more opportunities, not just for me, but for our community. You know, I'm always looking out for you guys as best as I can. You can easily find the link in the description below this videos and videos moving forward. So get down there and check it out and find the best option for you. Now, let's get back to the video. As I said at the beginning, I think it's a 50-50 fight. I don't think this is a fight where the odds should be crazy. I think it should be very close to each other. I don't know what the odds are. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments. But it's hard to pick a favorite in this fight. I think this fight is an even fight, but things could get tricky because this is a Golden Boy promotion or co-promotion event. So if it's a close fight, you would have to lean Oscar Duarte. In close fights that Akhmedov has been in, he has not gotten the nod. Maybe this could be the time that he gets the nod if it does go to the cards. Obviously, he's going to do his best to try to not make it go to the cards, but it's something to keep in mind as we talk about the entirety of this fight. You know, Duarte was preparing for Kenneth Sims, and when you're preparing for one person and then you have an opponent short notice, you know, it could change things for you because you were prepping for one body type and you fight a completely different fighter. Kenneth Bossman is more of a patient boxer. boxer, and Akhmedov is a guy who likes to let his hands go. So that could work in the favor of Duarte, but he cannot come in undisciplined, and he's got to be controlled and take calculated risks in this fight. But, you know, when you're fighting someone on short notice, to me, I feel like that leans to the short notice fighter, especially a good one. I think the knockout can happen for either guy, but I am expecting things to be very exciting. I'm expecting a lot of volume, a lot of punches thrown in this fight. I like Oscar Duarte to win this fight by decision. A knockout for either guy would not surprise me, honestly. Duarte has been stopped before by Ryan Garcia. The body shot should be a target that Akhmedov makes clear against Oscar Duarte. Akhmedov has been dropped a few times in his career. You know, he's been down a few times, so he is there to get hurt. And we know that he can be hurt, but he's also tough. He knows how to get up off that canvas and find a way to come out on top, or at least make it an even more competitive, closer fight. It's a 10-round fight, so I'm not expecting either guy to slow down in this fight. They're both well conditioned. Both men are always in great shape, but I think Duarte is just going to throw a little bit more, and I think he might make himself a little harder to get hit in this fight. But I think the close rounds, Duarte can swing it in his favor if he throws more and lets his hands go at a quicker rate than Akhmedov, especially in the last 30 seconds of their rounds. You know, judges have short-term memory. They don't remember a whole lot in the rounds, but those last 30 seconds, they'll remember. I think Duarte comes on pretty strong. But again, you know, 50-50 fight, man. It could go either way. It's a tough one to call, but you can't go wrong with whomever you select here. But I like Oscar Duarte to win this fight by decision. So those are my thoughts. I would love to hear from you. How do you think this one goes? Who do you have winning? Let me know in the comment section below. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this time, do me a favor and subscribe, like, comment, and share this channel with a friend. So with all that being said, I'll definitely see you next time.